Several weeks ago, I invited you to complete a brief online survey to help me figure out the best approach for expanding our church's spiritual education program. Within the survey, I asked for your input on some workshop topics, and I was intrigued with one response that suggested a workshop on the true meaning of a Christian during these times in 2009 and 2010. The true meaning of Christianity. The implication being that there are untrue meanings, that there may be a need to return to the grassroots basics of Christianity. I, for one, would like to see this sort of return to the basics. Christianity has evolved in such a way over the centuries that the casual observer can no longer recognize it as the same religion if he or she were to compare different denominations, say Southern Baptist, Episcopal, and Greek Orthodox. And yet, theoretically at least, there is something that all Christian denominations hold in common, or should hold in common, that defines them as a greater part of the whole, the greater whole of the Christian religion. And so true Christianity was one part of the topic suggestion, but there is another part. In these times, Christianity in the 21st century, as opposed to, say, Christianity in the 1st or 2nd century. How has today's Christianity, today's true Christianity, changed from the 1st century Christians? Or another interesting question might be, how is it the same? What principles still hold true these 20 centuries later? Well, all of those thoughts and questions were rolling around in my head as I approached this morning's gospel reading found in verses 35 through 45 of the 10th chapter of Mark. And one thing that was very clear to me was that in some ways, Christianity hasn't changed a bit. The opening verse makes me want to laugh out loud. The author of Mark's gospel depicts for the reader these very close friends of Jesus approaching him, saying, "Teacher, we want you to do for us whatever we ask of you." I find it humorous that apparently today's childlike cosmic Santa Claus approach to Jesus really does have its roots in the gospel after all. They can be traced all the way back to James and John. A very popular and lucrative approach to Christianity today is the immature idea that Jesus is supposed to do for us whatever we ask of him. It's as if we are the privileged members of the winning team, and consequently we are entitled to certain favors. And one of those favors is that Jesus will do whatever it is that we ask. You've heard all the televangelist promises of wealth, success, and healing, all because Jesus really and truly wants you to be happy. God wants you to be happy. And so all you have to do is ask for it. Ask for whatever you want, and Jesus will give it to you. Essentially, if we subscribe to this theology, what we do is turn Jesus into our slave. We turn him into the magic genie who is trapped within the lantern, a genie who is obliged to grant us our wishes, and all we have to do is ask. Maybe you remember the scene from the Garden of Gethsemane when Jesus asked for something. He asked for the cup to be removed from him. He asked if it were at all possible that the gruesome scenario of torture that lay before him not become a reality. He asked and he didn't get it. It would seem that it's not a simple matter of asking after all. God is not a cosmic Santa Claus dispensing wealth and happiness and healing to whomever would ask. This is a childish theology. It was in Jesus' day, and it is just as childish today. So what would Christianity look like if we got back to the basics? What if we dispensed with all the pomp and circumstance? What if we removed the rites and rituals? What would it look like? What defines a Christian? If Jesus were to pay us a personal visit, what within our lives would be shining examples of discipleship